It pays to have the richest owner in the NFL, literally, because the Broncos just announced that they are going to build a brand new whopping $175 million practice facility. So you see that there? Out with the old and in with the new, because this is going to be the Broncos' new practice facility as soon as spring of 2026. So we're going to run through the renderings that were released by the team. I'll give you some facts and figures, but take a look for yourself right now. It's beautiful, honestly. I mean, this is first-class stuff right here. This is what it's like to not be run by a poverty owner, right? Not to have the Oakland A's calling your shots. This is what it's like to have Walmart money, where everything is done first class, literally. No business class, no economy plus. We're talking the nicest of everything available to the team. I also love this picture right here. Look at it full screen. It might just look like a simple drive up, but take a little closer. That's what is that, Ford Bronco right there, Trace? I don't know my cars all that well, but I think that's what Russell Wilson drives. So look at the artist here getting a little bit creative as Russell Wilson pulls up to his brand new facility. He's still on the Broncos in 2026. But we're going to keep morale high for today's show. But let's get into some of the facts and figures about that brand new facility that was announced by the team. It's going to be about a third bigger than the current facility, and a big focal point for the Walton-Penner group was they want to increase the traffic flow for players so they're not going all across the place, going from the locker room to the weight room to the practice facility to the indoor practice facility. No, it's going to be a lot more streamlined, it's going to be a lot more efficient, and it's going to be a third bigger than the current spot. The coaches, by the way, and front office execs and whatnot, they're going to have their brand-owned floor on the second floor with a good view of the practice fields. So there will be no front office members working at the stadium at Empower Field and then having to commute over or anything like that. No, everyone's going to be here at HQ. Like I said, though, it will not get done until spring of 2026. That is the estimated completion time. But let it sink in for a moment now. This is what Walmart money looks like. They spent $100 million on a new Jumbotron a few months ago. They're dropping a new $175 million practice facility. They spent $400,000 on new grass for just one game last year. It was only going to be used once. Broncos Chargers week 18. And someone put a work order in. We could use some new turf maybe, but just down the line. And they go, oh, new turf? Sure. We'll spend $400,000 like that, even if it's only going to be used for one game. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that trickles down, though, right? This is the kind of stuff that just creates an environment of having a first-class organization where top to bottom, the expectation is excellence. Because if the team is going to spend money and invest every possible resource into you as a player, man, you're not going to be sitting in your locker room like Moneyball thinking, we got to pay for soda, we got to pay for a vending machine. No, this is going to be the nicest practice facility in the National Football League. Soon it's going to have the nicest stadium, by the way, because we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you better believe if they're spending $175 million on where this team practices, they're going to want the nicest stadium this country has ever seen. So sure, the on-field product right now is 3-5, and a lot needs to be improved. But as long as you're good up top, I mean, I'm not going to go full Ronald Reagan on you and trickle-down effect, but I do believe that if you've got incredible ownership that is willing to invest, I mean, just think about this for a moment. What if the NFL had no salary cap? Like, that just popped in my head. Oh my God, Denver would go 17-0. Like, they would spare no expense. They would purchase every single good player, and if they didn't turn out to be all that good, they would just go buy new ones. Like, they would go full anti-Moneyball mode here and burn that movie to the ground and just buy every good player we have ever seen. They would be the Saudis of the NFL. Literally. Messi would come play for the Denver Broncos. He'd be the new kicker. He could be the kicker. Okay, I do want to share some more notes, though, on the new practice facility with you guys. Once the new facility is complete, the existing facility will be demolished and replaced with a grass seating berm from which fans can view training camp. The new facility will also feature ample fan and hospitality spaces including an amenity courtyard, rooftop terrace, balconies, and seating areas. So for all my Broncos fans watching right now that go to practice and go to training camps, you guys are going to have a good view of training camps and whatnot. You're still going to be able to sit on that grassy berm overlooking the field. So there's not going to be any history robbed of this team. They are simply just kind of doing, I mean, I can't say for sure because it only got announced today, but similar to the transition of the old stadium to the new stadium where they build the old stadium in the parking lot and then they knock down, or they build the new stadium in the parking lot, knock down the old one, and then that turns into a parking lot. Like, they're not going to buy new land or anything like that. It's going to be where the current facility is right now. They're just going to Yankee swap everything, to my understanding. Don't quote me, but that's how I interpreted all of those announcements. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show and talk about maybe a new stadium on the horizon, today's Broncos Breakdown is sponsored by Game Time. Now, you guys shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. So if you want to go catch an upcoming Broncos game, you want to see a Nuggets game or an Avs game or anything else in your area, Game Time is the place to visit first. Now, the truth is, my boss just sent me a Slack about 10 minutes before we started filming saying that, unfortunately, the Broncos channel has some of the worst metrics when it comes to Game Time. So I want to prove them wrong. I want the entire Chat Sports office to know that Broncos Country is the biggest and proudest and loudest fan base out there, and they're not going to miss an opportunity to go see their favorite team. So help me do that by checking out Game Time, because they are obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code BroncosChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem the code BroncosChat for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So let's switch gears for a moment now and talk about the stadium, because one would think when you spend $175 million on where you practice, ownership will be interested in improving the stadium as well. So some background on Empower Field. It was constructed opened in 2001 after the old stadium was demolished. And in 2012, the stadium underwent $30 million in renovations. They added a new video board, only to see the Walton-Penner group come in a decade later and say, hold my $70+ million worth of beers. We're going to spend $100 million on the biggest and baddest Jumbotron this country has ever seen. And Walton, since he became the Broncos owner, is the richest owner in the NFL. You could add owners 2, 3, and 4 up. He's still richer. And we're talking about billionaires. Like, that is money that we cannot fathom. So I'm predicting this. Just my own prediction here. We will have a new stadium in 2023. Or 2033. Let me start over. The Broncos are going to have a new stadium by 2033. 2023 will be quite the turnaround. 10 years from now, I predict that we're going to have a new stadium in Denver. I just don't see how the richest owner that's willing to invest so much into this team is going to stop short of the ultimate, visual window, the visual aid, the calling card as an NFL owner, your house, right? That's what it is. You want to be an owner of a sports team, so you can have a big dick competition with every other owner about who has the coolest house, and that is your stadium. Now, I know what you're all thinking, Petey. Broncos just spent $100 million on a brand new Jumbotron. They're not going to just build a new stadium 10 years later. I know nothing, and I mean nothing, about building stadiums or Jumbotrons. But maybe they can just pick up the Jumbotron and move it. I don't know. Maybe that's too hard to fathom, but there are a lot of really smart engineers out there. So maybe they just pick up the Jumbotron and add it to the new stadium. I think that would solve a big hurdle for building a new stadium. But let me know what you think. Should the Broncos build a new stadium? Do you like the current stadium? It's not a bottom 10 stadium, but it's not a top 10 stadium. It's between 11 and 20. And that's fine. That's not something you're going to be embarrassed about. That's not something where fans want to come. If you got a friend who lives in New York and he's like, hey, I want to come see the Giants play in Denver, you're not going to be like, oh man, he's going to hate our stadium. No. But when you have the richest owner in the NFL being 11 through 20 in terms of stadium rankings is not going to sit well with them. They have so much money to spend. They want to spend it. At least good owners do. And the Walton-Penner ownership is a good ownership. So I think they're going to build a new stadium. And honestly, I bet they build a dome. I know that does not tie in with the history of the team and the home field advantage and playing in the elements and the snow and making it a hostile environment when a team like the Houston Texans or the New Orleans Saints come from the South in their domes and play outdoors in December. But ultimately, look at the direction the entire sports landscape is going. You want to host Final Fours, Taylor Swift concerts all year round. You want to be able to be the biggest host west of the Mississippi. And with a brand new stadium and a dome one, Denver could do that. So I think we're going to see a dome stadium. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, by the way, consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to keep you guys up to speed on all things Broncos all year long.